With the gathering darkness, people retreated to their homes, bolting doors and shuttering windows against the unknown terrors that lurked outside. Little did they know that the true nature of dark water was far more complex than their wildest speculations, and that the fate of their town would soon be intertwined with the mysterious figure who moved unseen through the shadows. The night was thick with a fog that rolled in from the harbor, cloaking the narrow streets of Saltmarsh in an eerie, impenetrable gloom. Dark Water, perched on a rooftop, watched as a town guard he had long suspected of corruption make his way through the twisting alleys. The guard's furtive movements and constant glances over his shoulder only served to confirm Dark Water's suspicions. As the guard approached a nondescript building in the seedier part of town, Dark Water's interest was piqued. He had heard whispers of this place, a brothel with a dark reputation, where the haunted eyes of the women who worked there spoke of great horrors. Dark Water followed the guard inside, slipping through the shadows like a wraith. The brothel's interior was a maze of dimly lit hallways, the air heavy with the scent of cheap perfume and despair. As Dark Water ventured deeper into the brothel, he sensed a disturbance in the air, a sickly sweet aroma that seemed to permeate the very walls. Suddenly, he heard a commotion from a nearby room. Bursting through the door, he found the corrupt guard standing over a group of women and children, their eyes glazed and vacant. The guard held a strange vial filled with an iridescent liquid. Dark Water's shadowy tendrils lashed out, disarming the guard and pinning him to the wall. The vial clattered to the floor, its contents spilling across the worn floorboards. "What is this?" Dark Water demanded, his voice a low, menacing growl. The guard, struggling against Dark Water's grip, sputtered, "Dreamlily! It's a drug! Keeps them compliant, easy to control." Dark Water's eyes narrowed. Where does it come from? Who's supplying it? Before the guard could answer, the door burst open, revealing a group of armed men, led by a well-dressed woman with a cruel smile. "Well, well, well, what do we have here?" she purred, eyeing Dark Water with a mix of curiosity and disdain. Dark Water released the guard, turning to face this new threat. The woman motioned to her men, who fanned out to surround him. "You've made a grave mistake coming here," she said, drawing a slender blade from her sleeve. "This is my establishment, and I don't take kindly to intruders." As the men attacked, Dravar's voice echoed in Dark Water's mind, a sinister whisper urging him on. "Let them feel our wrath," the demon hissed, his hunger for chaos and suffering palpable. "Make them pay for their sins." Dark Water's shadowy form shifted and swirled, tendrils of darkness lashing out with terrifying precision. Men screamed as they were torn apart, their blood splattering the walls in grotesque patterns. The air was thick with the stench of death and the crackle of eldritch energy. Through the carnage, the brothel manager watched with growing horror. As the last of her men fell, she lunged at Dark Water, her blade slashing through the air. Dark Water caught her wrist, snapping it with a sickening crack. She screamed, falling to her knees as he loomed over her. "The Dreamlily," he growled, his voice a rumble of distant thunder. "Where does it come from?" Van Horn," she gasped, her face contorted with pain. "He's the one who brings in the Dreamlily, along with the slaves. But that's all I know, I swear." Dark Water released her, letting her crumple to the floor, her wrist bent at an unnatural angle. He turned to the guard, who cowered in the corner, his face ashen with shock. "Where can I find Van Horn?" Dark Water demanded, his voice cold as the depths of the sea. The guard shook his head frantically, his words tumbling out in a panicked rush. "I don't know, I swear. I'm just a small fish. I don't deal with him directly. But his men, they're everywhere. The docks, the taverns, the gambling dens. That's all I know. Please." Dark Water's gaze swept the room, taking in the shattered vials and the huddled, traumatized victims. His heart clenched with a mixture of anger and sorrow, a renewed determination burning within him. He gathered the survivors, sending them out of the brothel and into the waiting arms of the town's few honest guards. As they fled, Dark Water grabbed an oil lamp and set the brothel ablaze. The fire spread quickly, consuming the den of sin and corruption, a fitting pyre for the horrors that had taken place within. As the flames of the burning brothel cast an eerie glow on the night sky, Dark Water stood motionless, his gaze fixed on the dancing flames. The echoes of Dravar's malevolent laughter reverberated through his mind, a sinister counterpoint to the crackling of the fire. "You have done well, my champion," Dravar purred, his voice a seductive whisper in Darkwater's thoughts. "The suffering of those who prey on the weak is a sweet nectar to my soul." Darkwater's jaw clenched, his eyes narrowing as he fought against the insidious influence of the demon. "I did not do this for your pleasure, Dravar," he growled, his voice low and menacing. "I did it to free the innocent and to bring justice to those who have wronged them." Dravar's laughter echoed through Darkwater's mind, a sound that chilled him to the bone. Justice? A mere mortal construct. In the end, all that matters is the hunger, the endless craving for more. Darkwater shook his head, his resolve hardening. "No, Dravar, I will not be a slave to your hunger. I have a greater purpose, a mission that goes beyond the simple satisfaction of your desires." The demon's presence seemed to coil tighter around Darkwater's thoughts, his influence a tangible force that threatened to suffocate him. "And what is that purpose, my dear Simon? To hunt down this Van Horn, to dismantle his empire piece by piece? How noble, how heroic." Darkwater's hands clenched into fists, his nails digging into his palms as he struggled to maintain control. "Mock me if you will, demon, but I will see this through. I will bring Van Horn to justice, no matter the cost." Dravar's voice took on a more insidious tone, a honeyed poison that seeped into Darkwater's very soul. "And what cost will that be, I wonder? How much of yourself will you sacrifice in the pursuit of this noble goal? How much of your humanity will you surrender to the darkness that courses through your veins?" Darkwater's eyes, solid black orbs that seemed to absorb the light around them, reflected the dancing flames of the burning brothel. In their depths, a fierce determination burned, a resolve that outshone the fire itself. "I will pay whatever price is necessary, Dravar," he said, his voice low and unwavering. "I will embrace the darkness, but I will never let it consume me. I will use it as a tool, a weapon to fight against the corruption that plagues this city." The demon's laughter faded, replaced by a cold, calculating silence. "We shall see, my champion. We shall see." With a final, defiant surge of willpower, Darkwater pushed Dravar's presence to the back of his mind, the demon's influence receding like a shadow before the dawn. He turned his gaze back to the burning ruins of the brothel, his resolve unshakable. "The hunt begins now, Van Horn," he whispered, his voice carried on the wind like a promise of retribution. "And when I find you, there will be nowhere left to hide." With a swirl of his cloak, Darkwater melted back into the shadows, leaving behind the smoldering remains of the brothel and the echoes of his vow. The streets of Saltmarsh awaited, and he would not rest until the town was free from the grip of corruption and fear.
Well, that was Darkwater, Episode 3, Whispers in the Night. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for listening to it. I still consider myself new to writing, and I'm always trying to improve, so I'd love to hear your comments. If you enjoyed this story, but have just jumped into it and you haven't seen the rest of them, there is a playlist for the Darkwater series called Darkwater. Please check it out. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you here next time. Y'all take care.